actually, the topic that Clay assigned me was the history of magic, and which some of you need to know is the second oldest profession. And I'm really happy he didn't ask me to talk about the first oldest profession. I don't know about you, but history for me, you know, is a lot of dates, and when I hear dates, my mind goes into sleep saver mode, okay? My eyelids get heavy, I look at the inner lids. So I'm not going to do that to you today, maybe refer a couple dates. But to make your experience easier, if you would like a timeline of it, I have one here that Clay can copy and get it to you if you'd like to do more research. I'd like to start by taking just a short trip to faraway lands into the long ago to get a glimpse of this art. And I mean art with a capital A. It has been practiced from time immemorial, and from the faint echoes of the ages, we can see that magic was bound up in people's lives. We can see it in one corner of the world in religion. We can see in a remote area how it affected people's relationships with each other. And we can even see way back in the Bible the first record, really, of magic. And that was when Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and asked, "Let my people go," and changed his staff into a snake. It continues actually into the New Testament also with Simon Magus, who was said to bewitch people and escape, a la Houdini, from chains and bonds. And historians tell us that Greeks thought that they had human qualities that were mixed with mystic qualities. And as a matter of fact, the word magic originates from the Greek word magia. Now the Romans, they were well versed in conjuring, and even gave exhibitions showing that the order was for entertainment purposes, not power. Because back, you know, when you change a staff into a snake, I mean, that's powerful because they didn't have the knowledge that we have today. So one of the illusions or effects that the Romans used was called the cups and balls. And I'm going to demonstrate the oldest known trick in magic. And what we're going to start with is cups, of course. And I have here just ordinary cups, as my daughter says, my granddaughter says, just an ordinary cup. And the only thing different about them, they slide through one another, as you can see. All right? Thank you. I'll be here all week. But and you can't be a good magician without a wand. Right?
Right.
Okay, so I have a wand, and of course, I need the balls. I have one ball, and I'm sorry that you guys here can't see.
And you have to stand up.
Who has to stand up? I have to stand up? Oh, okay. And of course, can't penetrate. Solid cup. Second cup, solid cup. And of course, the third cup, also solid.
You missed something.
Oh, okay. All right, well, what we're going to do here is we have our three balls and our cups. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this ball here, put it on top of this cup. Take this cup, put it on top of that cup. Take our magic wand, we run it down the cups, and if you'll look, the ball has penetrated the cups. Okay. I like this crowd, Kate. All right. Okay. So just to show you that was not by accident, but on purpose, we're going to take this middle ball, put it on this cup, take this cup, put it on, And what we're going to do is we're going to run that down here with the magic wand, of course. And as they would say, abracadabra, we have 2 balls. Okay. Now, I know that really gets kind of boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ball and I'm going to put it in this cup. Okay? And what we're going to do next is, stay there, okay? We're going to get the magic wand and pull the ball up. And then we're going to walk it over to this middle cup, put the ball in there, and all of a sudden we have all 3 balls here. Okay. I know what you're thinking, there's no ball there. Now, the cups and balls, like I said, was the oldest trick, although the Egyptians said their hieroglyphics showed that it was an Egyptian illusion, but the Romans thought it was lower glyphics, actually. It's good, it's good. We were doing good at that point. The nice thing about the cups and balls is it shows 4 of the known categories of magic. We had a production, okay, we pulled a rabbit out of a hat literally with that. We vanished, not the Statue of Liberty, but we made one of the balls vanish in that far cup. We had a transportation, one place to another, and we had a penetration of solid through solid. So the cups and balls gives you a really good idea of what magic is all about. Now I'm going to skip through a whole bunch of notes here. Just want to come up and 2 dates I want to mention. Robert Houdin was a clockmaker born in 1805, and he changed magic to bring it sort of from the wandering minstrels, the jugglers, into the central stage. And he used a lot of automation for his magic. The second one was in 1874, a gentleman by the name of Eric Weiss was born, and he became known as the King of Cards and the King of Handcuffs. Anybody know who Eric Weiss is?
Houdini.
Houdini. And in 1918, he made an elephant disappear, and they still haven't found the elephant. Anyway, so rather than go on to dates, I'd like to relate sort of 2 stories that are related to magicians. And one is related to World War II, and the other is related to the Cold War. In the World War II, there was a magician by the name of Jasper Mescaline, and not to be confused with a relative by the name of Neville, who had his own magic theater in the early 1900s in London. But Jasper became a major in the British Army, and he went to his superiors and said, hey, I think I can do some things that would, help us win the war. And the superior said, geez, okay, what do you need? And he said, well, I need an engineer, okay? He says, I need carpenters, I need soundmen, and he named a couple other things, and they became not the A-team, but the A-force. So the first sort of illusion or effect he did is they wanted to protect the Suez Canal at the time, because that's in Africa where the staging was for all the equipment to go to the Allies. So the German says, okay, well, let's bomb the heck out of this place. So Jasper Mescaline says, well, what can we do so that they don't bomb it? He says, we can't move it 1 mile up, we can't throw a tarp over it. And the Luftwaffe did most of their bombing at night. So he thought, okay, well, why don't we do is try to give them as much light to confuse them as possible. And what he did is he got these circulating tin gizmos, for lack of a better term, and the big Broadway lights that they would show. and circulate these around. And he produced a 9-mile wide area that was bright like a rav that you would go to a disco in, that the German bombers would come in and they couldn't see what they were bombing. So that was a little razzle-dazzle.
Did they still come and bomb?
They came and bombed, but they were unable to be accurate with their bombs. They're talking about a 9-mile wide radius. So the area was well protected. There was a PBS special that was on, maybe a couple months ago that talks about the documentation of this. In January of 1943, a German agent by the name of Fritz radioed his German contacts and told them that he had placed and detonated a bomb inside the Royal Air Force powerhouse. Well, the German army didn't believe them, so they sent a reconnaissance plane over and confirmed that indeed a bomb had been placed. They saw holes in the roof, they saw bricks lying around, a lot of debris of wood, and even an RAF mission later also confirmed that the area had been exploded. Well, Fritz was welcomed home by the Nazi intelligence agents, briefed on his next mission, and sent back into the fray. What the Nazis didn't realize is that Fritz was also known as Eddie Chapman, the most successful double agent in history. And the bombing that Fritz called in was actually nothing more than a magic act performed by the A Force. What they did was they took a tarp and they cut holes in it, threw it over the roof and burned some of the tarp. They took bricks, threw bricks on the side and wood on the side, so that when you flew over it, it looked like it had been bombed and destroyed. So it was the perfect illusion of the destruction of a building. Actually, I saved the best for last for him. In 1942, the Axis forces were stalled and losing steam, and the dream of conquering Egypt and Africa by Rommel was slipping away as supplies dwindled and the British gained ground. And everyone knew that a showdown was about to come. And the Allies would need to be the aggressors. Okay? Check me if I'm going a little bit long, okay? All right. Somebody check me if I'm going, because I do like to talk, by the way. Okay. All right. So, no one knew whether the attack was coming from the north or the south. So Jasper Mescaline and the A Force decided to do a ruse. So what they did is in the north, which is where the attack was coming from, they took tanks and they just put plywood over the tanks and made them look like trucks. In the south, and they did this with 1,000 tanks. In the south, they blew up rubber tanks, 2,000 of them. Okay? Now, was this enough to have the Germans think that rubber tanks? No. So what they did was that because battle prep isn't just about tanks situated, it's about radio chatter. It's about supply dumps, about construction sounds, storage buildings, ammunition piles, railway lines, all of which were manufactured for the deception. But even that sort of sounds too easy. And what they did is they piled fake armor on top of armor that was already there. The chatter of construction continued. But the thing that fooled Rommel, okay, was they put a fake water line in that was never completed. And Rommel thought, well, they're not ready to attack us. And on October 23rd of that year, they attacked from the north, and it was a complete surprise and a total success. The above fake army, total deception happened. It's a historical fact and is one of the more awesome stories of the war. Just a couple quick other things about the World War II. Red Cross would funnel in cards which had maps that were it in so if they escaped, they could look at the maps. They had shoelaces with saws. They had games like Monopoly that they would send in with real money so that if they escaped, they had some capital. How am I doing?
You're doing good. Okay.
The Cold War. Okay, John Mulholland was a magician and recruited by the CIA to sort of counter the Russians who were experimenting with mind control and the Manchurian Candidate, if you remember the movie at all. And what he was to do is to develop extreme forms of covert activity. I mean, the Russians had already deployed a cyanide bullet gun concealed in a cigarette pack. The Americans countered, and I love this title, a non-discernible bioinoculator, which was a gun shooting tiny poison darts. That was your inoculator. But some of the more interesting things that they did is that they would have a car, and if an agent was going around the corner and somebody was trailing him, that agent could fall out of the passenger side and a dummy would pop up in the passenger side so it looked like he had never left. They got somebody out of East Germany by converting a gas tank into just a half a gas tank and the person they were getting out of East Germany in the other half. Sort of like the way that Silbert did in 1921 of sawing a woman in half. Okay. Then there's some other ones that are just amazing. They had a St. Bernard outfit in which, it's in a book, it's real. And they got the man in the St. Bernard outfit, an agent, and he took him to a fake veterinary office. Okay? Put him back in the outfit, took him back home, and he was seen the next day walking his St. Bernard. And
What was the
lady,
purpose of that?
what? Purpose was to exchange messages. Okay? That was the main purpose. To get him, he was a spy and in the Russian, so he was being watched, and they took him in this dog outfit to tell the people what he exactly knew. This is I'm sort of embarrassed about this, but a radio was hidden in an artificial scrotum.
Can't make this stuff up.
I can't make this up. And it was attached over the real scrotum, of course. And this was obviously for contact. They had miniature lock-picking tools. Well, you haven't heard the worst. They were packaged in a suppository. Okay? They had shoelaces which were tied in a certain fashion to send messages. So anyway, magic has been used, for power, but we're really doing it in the war to confuse people. But basically, it's being used for entertainment today. And I don't know if you've been to a magic show or you haven't, but there's great magicians out there. There's Copperfield, Penn and Teller,
Grossman.
Yeah, I've only been doing this 3 years. David Blaine, Chris Angel. But if you have a chance, it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's.
Tell me about your local club that you
Oh,
belong to.
the local club. We have the Assembly 226 here, the Society of American Magicians, of which I've been a member for the past 3 years, and we meet once a month at the Williamsburg Library, the 4th Wednesday of the month. So if anybody is interested, you can come and learn magic. You don't need to join the club. I know you guys probably are clubbed out sometimes. We don't request money, which is nice. So, how am I doing on time?
You're good.
I have a question. Yeah, what, in your opinion, is the most amazing magic trick of all that you have seen in person? Or on on TV.
That reminds me of what Eve said to Adam. Geez, that's a hard one. Thank you, Sean.
We've heard enough.
Okay. Clay, that's a very difficult question because the magic comes in different forms. Like I mentioned, there's vanishes. David Copperfield has the Statue of Liberty disappear. That's a pretty amazing effect. Houdini makes an elephant disappear. Getting out of a straitjacket. It's tough to categorize what is the most amazing. For me, magic is I just sit back and some like to figure out things. I sit back and wow, that was great. That was terrific. Yes.
It's just.
Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, a lot of these professional magicians have some very elaborate things made for them, right? Now, who first came up with making that kind of equipment for them?
Robert Houdin.
Robert Houdin
Yes.
was the...
He was the clock maker who took, things, brought it on the stage where he could change the lady into a tiger. He was the one that really brought magic into the modern field, if you will.
A lot of that stuff's pretty costly too, isn't it?
It is. Magic can be, for me, I'm known as the poor prestidigitator because my skills aren't really that good and I won't spend a lot of money. Okay? So there's a number of things there. But it can, you can have a cabinet that would run you $5,000 easily. Yeah. But these guys make their living by that. You have to understand that, okay? And they get paid pretty well.
Yeah.
Let me, come back.
Yeah, I love your jacket.
Thank you.
What got you interested?
I always start with a story. Is that one day I was watching this tractor go down the road and it turned into a farm. No, not magic is. It's fun. I said, geez, I'm near retirement. What can I do that is fun? I'm terrible with carpentry. Okay, I made a toy box for my kids, and it sloped. So I said, I'm not gonna be carpentry. So I decided to do some magic, and I've had a lot of fun with it. Again, it's like Rotary. It opens up doors. And my father was a Rotarian, international and otherwise. So, it really does open doors.
Great.
Yes?
Do you understand how the levitation tricks work?
Yes.
Are you going to tell her?
He'd have to shoot you if he goes.
The second yes is you're unwilling to share that. Is that correct?
That is correct. Oh, yeah. Anything else? I had another illusion for you, but I think I'm out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Instead of getting a coffee mug as our thanks, we will be presenting to the Williamsburg Regional Library.
That's awesome.
A book called
Yeah.
Fetch.
I'm supposed to stand up more.
Yes, yes. And you will also get a certificate of appreciation.
Okay, one more.
I'm afraid we clash, don't we? Okay.
Beauty and the Beast.
We have one more official duty, and that is for you to choose the winning ticket.
Whoa, your tickets, yeah. What I'd like to do, if it's okay, Andy, my sultry assistant
Oh, but wait.
will draw